As of yet, they've interviewed former head coach Matt Nagy, former head coach Vance Joseph, Kevin Stefanski. They've also interviewed young coordinators and position coaches, Davis Webb, Clint Kubiak. More are to come. So they're interviewing both types of guys. But at the end of the day, do you think they'll go young or experienced?
I think they're going to go with a first-time guy. I really believe Eric DeCosta wants somebody that he can mold and fashion and sort of bend in his likeness. I think he will be leaning heavily into the idea of part of the reason you've had, Steve, this cohesion and camaraderie here you have had this, I mean, we would say it became complacency, right? But it went from stability to complacency. Part of the reason you even reached the stage in this football regime that we got there is because I was able to get along with the coach, and we were able to keep, when we did have disagreements, we're able to settle them, what have you. And so he's going to want to prize that. And it's easier when you're the first GM that this guy's ever worked with. He's got no past as a head coach to be able to sort of check or counter check what really is normal, how much say should I have, what was it like when I went through this last time. Now, I also think it's interesting, the collection of guys they're going to talk to, or they've scheduled time with, or that they've already talked to. I don't even think Matt Nagy was a good coordinator, in so much as anybody. I'm using air quotes, unless you're watching on YouTube, you could see, in which case you're like, why is he telling me something I can already see? I don't think he was even a good coordinator or right-hand man for Andy Reid. Not as good at it as Eric Bieniemy and others were. So I don't even want him as my offensive coordinator, but he does nothing for me. I don't want Cliff Kingsbury in my building. I don't want him in my building as the OC. He's toxic. He's full of his own mythology. He's already been paid. He's made his money. He's been a myth forever. He will undercut other people. There'll be clicks on your offensive staff. And I'm talking about just if he's your OC. So that's one where if you're doing your homework there, he's not even making the list for, I don't need to spend any time with Nagy or Kingsbury, even if it's to steal offensive ideas off them. McDaniel, all right. Stefanski, okay. I'm not hiring Mike McDaniel as my head coach in a bajillion years. But some of it I get, Flores I get, Stefanski I get. But if you made me just looking at the initial tea leaves and how they've structured the first part of this, what they could control until the game results started factoring in, my hunch, all things being equal, it's somebody who hadn't done the job before.
Yeah, I'm pretty torn what they'll actually do, and clearly they're casting a wide net. I mean, there's 15 different guys scheduled or completed interviews, maybe even more than that at this point. But I've been on the record since John got fired in the middle of our show and saying that I just think that this is a different situation than the first go around for Steve Bisciotti, where he took a chance on John, and he's this guy that's not the hot, sexy name in the coaching cycle at that time. Wasn't an offensive coordinator, wasn't a defensive coordinator. But the job wasn't necessarily seen as a win-now job at that time, where it's win now. You have to hit the ground running. I don't know if you can take a chance on a rookie guy that's going to find his way during year one, year two, where the clock is ticking. Lamar Jackson is 29 years old. You can't afford to screw this up. And that's why I almost feel like it's a safer option to go with the experienced guy because of that.
Yeah, they're also going to interview Anthony Weaver. I don't see that as like they passed him over 3 different times to be the coordinator, so hiring him as the head coach would be odd. But my gut says they're going young guy. But as I told you guys last week, there are 2 experienced guys that I like with caveats. I like Stefanski if he brings Schwartz with him, and I like Saleh if he brings McDaniel with him. Do I think they're going to do either of those things? I don't. Stefanski would be interesting though, because like, don't you give him? He won Coach of the Year twice in that cesspool in Cleveland. Like, if you think you're a real organization, like I think the guy deserves another shot to be a head coach.
Well, I think Stefanski's definitely getting a job in this cycle, whether it's Baltimore or elsewhere.
Yeah, he will, and justifiably so. I think I would prefer that being as relatively safe as it is than them trying to tell you that the football world is wrong about Cliff Kingsbury and Matt Nagy, and we know better.
By the way, they just completed their interview with Kingsbury.
But we would be stunned if they hire one of those guys. Like,
but again, if they hire one of them as the offensive coordinator, I'm going to be pessimistic about it. I'm going to be, I guess to use fanboy lingo, negative about it, because I'm going to be real about it, and those would be uninspiring choices on a multitude of levels. The Washington Commanders just decided we don't want Cliff Kingsbury around Jaden Daniels anymore.
Yep.
And that kid did things his rookie year that nobody, if anybody thought that was possible, he's the first overall pick, and people throwing pick after pick after pick at him to be the first overall pick. And literally 6 months after that, you're hearing it's not great. 7 months after that, you're hearing this guy could get whacked in season, even though they're playing a backup quarterback. And then he's let go as soon as the season ends. Like, I don't, again, he's got no secret sauce. Like, go watch the film of him with Kyler Murray. It was abject failure. It was schoolyard football. Now, I get it. You don't want to just spin your wheels, and you only can get an audience with certain people at certain times. But I'm going to take this seriously for as long as they give me reason to take it seriously. But you're telling me an audience with those fools and not Steve Spagnuolo makes sense. Okay.
Well, whoever they bring in, is Lamar going to have much pull in this? I don't think so. But whoever they bring in, you have to prioritize the relationship between head coach and quarterback, because that clearly was not right, and Todd Monken can get lumped in there as well. You're tied at the hip with Lamar Jackson, whoever is coming in, because Lamar's, we hope, about to decide
Lamar,
to make a contract.
if you're listening, call Mahomes and ask him about Spags, because maybe they don't want to go down that route. They're scared of that, because that's a real man. Call Mahomes, ask him about Spags, and then call Mr. EDC and tell him what you found out. And you know what? Call Jaden Daniels.
But they know Spags.
Ask him.
He was here.
Ask him about Cliff Kingsbury, and then tell him what they told you.